making sure our student athletes that are in this program have an opportunity to excel in a way that they wanted to when they made their decision to come to UNLV. And it's my responsibility as the athletic director to make sure that I'm doing things in the right way and at the right time to help them reach the goals that they want.
Speaking with UNLV Athletic Director Erick Harper. So, Erick, you said in terms of the trajectory, and you said over 3 years. That includes the pandemic year, and with all due respect, I understand every team, every institution had to go through that. I don't know the number off the top of my head of how many first-year coaches had to go through that and get to know their players and try to figure that out. Are you included? So what you're saying is you're including that year. That's included in your overall projection of how Marcus Arroyo performed as a head coach the pandemic season?
Yes, you have to look at the totality of the deal, and that is a factor we looked into because it's one of those things that everybody had to experience the exact same thing. Were there different deals in the various municipalities? Absolutely, 100%. But at the same time, we were all very fluid. We were all moving in different ways. I mean, things that you could do in the state of Nevada, you couldn't necessarily do in California, and vice versa, depending on where it was and when it was and how it went down. So you have to include that. The student athletes went out and competed. We had practices. We had all of that's a factor. Everybody had to deal with the exact same thing for the most part.
And so he goes from 0 wins to 2 wins to 5 wins. It on paper, obviously, wins and losses. It shows improvement. Where did he go wrong in your eyes? What did he do wrong in terms that brought you to this decision exactly?
No, when you look at 0 to 2 to 5, I get it. But look at the totality of the records with those programs that we actually beat, and the number of games that we also lost at. With 1-score games, which I thought we were, when we beat New Mexico, that was a big win for us, considering we were down 17. But you look at the totality of what has gone on with those 0 to 2 to 5 wins. We're 7-23 over the last 3 years.
Erick Harper's with us, AD. At UNLV, Marcus Arroyo is out as the head coach. Was your mind made up after the Hawaii game? If they had gone and beat Nevada 49-0, does that change things? When did you make up your mind?
My mind was not made up until yesterday, per se, and I didn't put it all on the Hawaii game. Obviously we had an opportunity to become bowl eligible. If we had beaten Hawaii, we would have, didn't win this past weekend. That would be 6. But that wasn't, again, I go back and I look at 2020, 2021, and 2022, and I think that it's just put us in a position. I said, it was time to make a change. We have a $35 million practice facility on campus. We play in a $2 billion stadium. We've had arguably 2 of the top recruiting classes. And we're not competing against the teams like the San Jose States at their level. We're not competing. We competed very, very well with Fresno State this year. So those are some of the teams that are winning championships that we have to put our bar up against so that we can compete with them on a consistent basis, week in and week out, and year in and year out.
Did you disagree with Arroyo in terms of team building and roster building? A lot of this team and even a little bit of last year's was built through the transfer portal. Do you disagree with that route, and is that sustainable?
No, I don't know. The sustainability through the transfer portal, I think the jury is still out on that. It's only been going on for a couple of years now, but I think the getting the right players in the right spots on your team, and I leave that to the coaches to make those determination evaluations. I'll never tell them who to recruit and how to recruit. I'll never tell them what plays to call and what plays not to call. They're the experts at that, and that's where it lies. I think Aiden Robbins through the transfer portal has been an exceptional player for us. Do all even if you went back to the old deal of always recruiting high school, all high school and all JC don't work out. You just got to have a good mix of classifications from freshmen to sophomores to juniors to seniors. You have to have a good mix of those, in my opinion, so that you can sustain from year to year success.
So let's go with the scenario of, let's say they close out the season strong, beating Nevada, beating Hawaii. Could you move forward without giving Marcus Arroyo an extension beyond the 5th year and have him come back with just 2 years left on his contract, or would that have been problematic?
I don't know that I could answer that without it actually happening, Steve. That's a scenario that obviously was a possibility out there, but I couldn't answer that without it actually happening.
What was the reaction? I know you met with the kids this morning, right? I think around 10 a.m. and it was before your press conference, before they painted the cannon. I mean, a lot of people are assuming, hey, they're devastated. Some of the kids said that. What was your reaction to the players, and what was your message to the players about the decision and also optimism moving forward?
No different than that when I've said, just the increased expectations. We expect to win championships, and program's trajectory right now, and at the same time, I did mention about focusing on academics here towards the end of the semester as they go into finals. I wanted to make sure that they knew we cared about them deeply as a department. And then I mentioned or let them know that Coach Kenwick Thompson would be the interim. And we would continue to move on from there. And it's important for them to do the things that they do to continue to get better as football players and also academically.
So to make a move like this, obviously you have to have – you may not have an exact list. You may not have candidates that you've spoken with. But to make a move like this with so many openings and people are going to be making decisions, there has to be targets. And my question is, you go from a guy like Bobby Houck to Tony Sanchez to Marcus Arroyo. At this point, does it take a big name, no disrespect to those previous three that I just named, but to do what it is that you're looking for this program? Are you going to go out and get somebody big, or are you going to go grab another assistant or a coordinator or someone from the FCS? How are you going to approach this hire?
We're approaching this hire to hire the very best possible coach to take our program to the next level. Is there a magic ball or anything like that? Absolutely not. But at the same time, we have to do our due diligence in the evaluation of coaches that are out there. Our focus would, we'd love to have someone with Division I head coaching experience. But, if that doesn't happen, we're going to hire the best possible coach for our student athletes in our institution and, having that at the right time.
Erick Harper's with us, athletic director of UNLV. They made a change with the football program. Marcus Arroyo is out. I wanted to go back to something. I've seen a big narrative today, Eric, with a lot of media members. Was some of this in part due to Marcus Arroyo's personality? I got along with him fine. Maybe some other media people didn't. I don't know what he was like in the community. Maybe he didn't do enough in terms of, being that full scope football coach, also selling tickets. Was any of this due to his personality?
No, I have a good relationship with Marcus, and Marcus is a football coach, and that's what he focused in on. But Marcus is a lot different than Tony Sanchez too. As it relates to Tony was, he was part of the community and already a fabric of the community when he was here. By being at Gorman, and Marcus came from the outside, so it's very, very different. Two very different people. So for people to badger Marcus about not being in the community or that, I don't think that's fair to him because his predecessor was so ingrained in the community with being at Bishop Gorman that it probably painted a bad picture that probably shouldn't be there.
We got 1 minute left. I want to build on that. So when you talk about the next coach and Division I head coaching experience would be great. How big is that other element, though? Getting out in the community, rallying the troops, kind of making up for rough times of late, helping sell tickets, or are you fine with, hey, this guy's got a track record, it's football, and, we won't worry about all the other stuff you may ask a head coach to do?
No, Steve, I think it's extremely important for the coach coming in to be in the community. We're going to do our best to strategize that in the proper way. The coach can't be out every single day, but at the same time, if there's special events that are going on that we need to coach at, whether it's attending a Golden Knights game, whether it's going to a Raiders event, or whether it's going to the Nevada Ballet event, those particular things like that where you get to coach out in the community is important. It's also important for myself to be out in the community whenever we hire the new coach, making sure that me being someone that's been here for 10 years, to make sure I'm introducing coach to the right people at the right time when his schedule permits. Obviously, recruiting's going on, the spring ball's around the corner. So making sure that we get out, and it's going to be extremely important for the head coach to get out and about. And to your point earlier, you said it, sell some tickets, get people excited about being around and coming to Allegiant Stadium. And I can't thank the fans enough that came out this year and watched the team compete. I really appreciate, and our team appreciates their support over the year.
Erick, thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
All right, gentlemen. Have a great evening.